Hey everyone, so this is my review of New Amsterdam, Season 1, Episode 3, called Every Last Minute. And essentially what this episode is about is that Bloom works to try and help this patient who's in a very tricky position because of the fact that she's a prisoner at Rikers. And while it's going on, Max is supposed to go and give a tour to this wealthy woman who might grant a donation to New Amsterdam Hospital. And Dr. Kapoor is asked to help out with this patient who sort of believes that he's dead. And this was a really interesting and great episode that had a lot of fun moments to it with each of the different sort of independent stories, and it was interesting to see how everything sort of turned out by the end and like what everything did to figure out like the solutions and stuff, if that makes any sense. Where everything with Dr. Bloom and this lady who's in prison and is about to give birth and stuff was interesting, with this woman basically refusing to give birth to her child because of the fact that she is still stuck in prison for another like 6 weeks. And because of that, if she gives birth to the child, she'll essentially lose it to foster care, and she doesn't want that to happen. And so Bloom has to ask Max to sort of help figure out a way that this woman can keep her baby for the last 6 weeks that she's in jail. And all that was very interesting to see how all that played out and what sort of strives Max did to try and keep this family together. So then he could kind of have some parallels and connections to try and keep his own family together. Now that his, I don't know if it's his wife or his fiance, but she's about to leave to go to, I believe it was North Carolina or Connecticut, to go and live with their family and raise the baby there. So Max also has to deal with that sort of situation of trying to find a way to keep his own family together. And then everything with Max going out and giving this tour to this rich lady was interesting, with how pretty much all the older staff and stuff that Max has fired, this widowed woman's husband was very similar to them, where they only cared about money and they only cared about like what would give them the most amount of success and stuff. But then she and Max are very similar in their ideas, and that was interesting how they chose to show that, where like all like the gaudy decorations and like the wealthy spending and stuff, she and Max didn't care for, but like everyone else did. And that was fun to see, where how like the head of the hospital wanted the money so then he could go and build a school, and how Max at the start wanted the money to better help the hospital, but then he sort of came to the conclusion that all this money could be better helped somewhere else. And that was interesting to see how they got to that sort of step of helping all these other people and like what they had for their reasons behind it. Then everything with Dr. Form and Dr. Kapoor was great with this patient who at first it makes it seem like he just thinks he's invisible, and that's why like he can't feel pain and he isn't really understanding that some of the stuff he's doing is wrong or weird and stuff. But then they finally come to the conclusion that he thinks he's dead, and they sort of have to work to figure out how to help him with his brain tumor that's causing all these feelings and stuff, and help him to sort of go back to his normal self. The only problem I had with that is the weirdness around it, that his symptoms and stuff showed up so quickly, because they said like he was perfectly fine like 2 days ago, and then all of a sudden he disappeared and now thinks he's dead. So that was very interesting to see how all those sort of scenes and stuff played out with their slow discovery of what's actually going on with this guy. And then just overall, this was a really great episode, and I'm very interested to see what the next episode will bring, with Max now trying to do his best to focus both on his own family as well as the hospital, and how he's going to approach that this time, because in the past it hasn't really ever worked out for him. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen there. So yeah, that's my review of New Amsterdam, Season 1, Episode 3, called Every Last Minute. So yeah.